The Forbiddens won. The stars were quiet that night. A cold silence wrapped around the prison station, floating above a dying red star. This place was not on any map. It didn't need a name. Only one thing mattered about it. No one ever left it alive. Jace Carter didn't plan to be there. He was just a cargo pilot from Earth. Bad luck had followed him through a wormhole and crashed his ship into this forgotten zone. His systems were fried. No fuel. No help. Only static on the radio. The only thing in sight? That lonely station dot. Looked abandoned, old, broken. But something felt wrong. Jace had two options. Wait in space and die. Or go inside and look for help. He chose to move. With a small oxygen tank, a flashlight, and a blaster that barely worked, he entered the station. The airlock opened with a long screech, like the station was waking up from a long sleep. Inside, it was dark and cold. Dust floated in the air. Lights flickered. No signs of life. Hello? He called out. No answer. He moved through metal halls, passing old warning signs in languages he didn't know. He saw scratches on the walls, deep like something with claws had tried to escape. Or tried to warn. Then he saw something strange. A door with guards. Not human. Not even close. Two tall machines stood like statues, glowing red eyes watching him. But they didn't move. They didn't attack. They just stood. The door behind him was massive. Locked. Ancient symbols glowed across it, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Jace's curiosity screamed no. But his feet moved forward anyway. As he stepped closer, the machines looked at him, then looked away, like they recognized him. The door opened. Inside the room. It was pitch black at first. Then lights flickered on, one by one, revealing a glass chamber in the center. And inside the chamber was her. She looked almost human. Pale skin, silver hair flowing like smoke, eyes closed. Wires and lights wrapped around her body like chains. She didn't move. Didn't breathe. Jace's heart raced. She was beautiful. But there was something terrifying in the way she just existed. Like a storm trapped in a bottle. A soft voice filled the room. Not from a speaker. Not from the station. From her. You finally came, she said. Jace froze. What? Her eyes opened. They glowed like burning ice. I've waited, she said, voice calm. Too calm. So long. You know me? She smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind you give before everything falls apart. I know. Your blood, she said. I know your kind. Jace backed away. I don't know who you are. What is this place? Who are you? I am what they locked away, she whispered. They called me a weapon. A god. A monster. I was none of those. I was their queen. Jace laughed nervously. Okay, I'm dreaming. I hit my head. This is some weird alien jail, and I just woke up the space witch. She stepped forward, and the glass didn't stop her. It melted around her body like it was made of water. No one escapes this place, she said, stepping onto the floor. Except you, and now me. Jace raised his blaster. Stay back. She looked at the gun like it was a toy. You're not my enemy, Jace Carter. But they are. Suddenly, alarm screamed. Red lights flashed. The station was waking up. Heavy footsteps echoed down the halls. You brought them here, she whispered. They know I'm free. Jace looked around, panic rising. What's going on? Who's coming? She stepped close too. Close and touched his chest. I don't want to hurt you, she said. But if you leave me here, you die. Jace didn't move. Behind him, something growled. Metal crashed. Guards were coming. Real ones. She looked into his eyes. Make your choice, human. Be a hero. Or be the first to fall. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room, and somewhere in that black silence, a voice whispered inside Jace's head, "Set me free." The deal with the devil. The lights were still out. Jace stood frozen in the dark room, heart hammering in his chest. Somewhere behind him, something heavy was dragging its claws along the metal floor. And in front of him, her she was no longer. Inside the chamber. She stood free now, calm, silent, deadly. Jace's voice trembled. "What did you do?" She looked at him with those glowing eyes. "I didn't break out," she said. "It let me go." Suddenly, the lights snapped back on, bright, white, blinding. The hallway outside the room filled with shadows. The guards were coming, and not the ones who ignored him earlier. These ones had blades for arms and hate in their eyes. Jace stepped back. "Okay, I don't know who you are or what this place is, but I didn't sign up for this mess." "You already did," she said coldly. He pointed his blaster at her again. It buzzed, low power, almost empty. "Stay back." She didn't flinch. Instead, she tilted her head and said, "They fear me. Not because I destroy, but because I remember." Jace's hand was shaking. "Remember what?" She walked past him, slow and graceful, like she had all the time in the universe. "I remember when this galaxy had balance," she said. "Before the council betrayed me. Before they locked me here like a beast." A loud crash echoed down the hall. A guard had arrived, twice Jace's size, armor-plated, eyes red like fire. It saw Jace and ignored him. It lunged for her. And that's when it happened. She raised her hand, didn't even touch the guard, but the air cracked like lightning. The guard stopped mid-charge. Its body froze. Then it broke into pieces like glass. No scream, just silence. Jace's jaw dropped. "What the hell are you?" She turned to him. Her expression didn't change. No pride, no regret. Power, just power. "I was queen," she said. "I ruled without blood. But when they feared me, they chose war. I chose peace, so they caged me." "Why?" Jace asked, backing up. "What? Did you do that scared them so much?" She gave the smallest smile. "I told the truth." Another alarm screamed. The station AI crackled through the speakers. Code read, "Containment breach. Subject 001 is active. Terminate immediately." More guards coming. The whole station was waking up. And Jace was stuck in the middle of it, with her. She looked at him again. "You want to live?" Jace hesitated. He'd faced pirates, raiders, criminals, but nothing like this. She said. "And I'll get you out. I'll even fix your ship." "And if I don't?" he asked. She looked at the dead guard. "Enough said." Jace sighed. "What's the catch?" "No catch," she said. "Just one thing. Never lie to me. Not once. Not ever. And what do I call you?" She walked toward the door, hands glowing faintly. "They called me the Black Queen, but you can call me whatever helps you sleep at night." The door slid open. An hallway full of death and machines waited. She stepped into it like it was her throne room. He followed, because honestly, what else could he do? As they moved through the corridors, lights flickered above them. Security systems tried to fight. Back, turrets spun. Lasers powered up. She didn't stop walking, and every machine that aimed at her stopped moving. They just died, quiet, like they remembered her too. Jace whispered, "You're not just some prisoner. You're something else," she replied. "I'm what they couldn't control. So they called me a monster." They reached the station's core. A massive glowing reactor pulsed in the center. Jace stared. "What now?" She touched the core. It turned black. Every light on the station shut off. Total silence. Then her voice echoed through the ship's systems. "System, Override complete. I am in control. She looked at Jace, her eyes brighter than ever. I gave them mercy once. I won't do it again. Jace frowned. You said you were here for peace. I was, she said, until they broke it. He didn't like the sound of that dot, and as they boarded his damaged ship, which somehow was now fully powered, almost brand new, Jace realized something terrifying. This wasn't an escape. This was a return dot. She was going back out into the galaxy dot. He was going with her. Enemy of all, the galaxy was not ready. For 1,000 years, they said she was gone. Dead. Buried in some black corner of space. But then, a signal. A forgotten prison goes dark. Hundreds of guards wiped out. No survivors. No data. Only one message left behind, corrupted, barely readable. 3 words. She is free. Across the stars, leaders panicked. Old enemies made secret. Calls. Empires that once fought each other now whispered in fear. The Black Queen had returned. Far from the chaos, Jace Carter was not feeling like a hero. He sat in the cockpit of his ship, now strangely upgraded. Everything ran smoother, faster, too perfect. Even the coffee machine made better coffee, which was weird because it was broken before. And behind him, she sat calmly in the co-pilot seat, legs crossed, hands folded, eyes closed, like this was just a morning taxi ride. He finally spoke. Okay, so, real talk. What exactly are we doing? Her eyes opened slowly. Heading home. Home? Jace raised an eyebrow. Please don't say it's a death planet, or a black hole, or the inside of a volcano. She smirked. No, worse, my palace. Jace almost spit out his coffee. Oh, sure. Let's just waltz into your haunted palace. It's probably full of laser cannons and traps and angry alien ghosts. She didn't smile this time. I left something there. Something I need to finish what I started. Jace stared at her. And what exactly did you start? She turned to him, voice low. Balance. I gave them order. They repaid me with chains. The ship suddenly dropped out of hyperspace, ahead of them. A broken moon, torn apart like it had been punched by. A god. Floating rocks circled it, glowing faintly with red light. Jace blinked. Is that my home? She whispered. Okay, Jace muttered. Definitely worse than a volcano. They landed on a jagged platform of stone. Her palace stood. In the distance, black, sharp towers reaching into the sky like claws. Time hadn't destroyed it, but it had changed it. It felt angry. Jace stepped out slowly, blaster ready. Anyone still living here? No, she said. Good. They're dead. Not as good. As they walked toward the gates, wind howled around them. Whispers floated in the air. Not voices. Memories. She stopped suddenly. Jace looked over. What is it? She placed a hand on a cracked stone wall. I remember the day they came, she said, with false smiles and poisoned treaties. I let them in. I trusted them. Jace looked at her face. This time there was emotion. Anger, regret, pain. She whispered. They called it a peace meeting, but they brought soldiers. He wanted to ask why they feared her, but something inside told him not to. They reached a massive sealed door. Ancient writing glowed as she approached. The door read. Her responded. Open. Inside was no throne. No riches. Just a long, dark chamber. At the far end, a pedestal. And on it, a mask. Black, smooth, beautiful, terrifying. Jace took one step closer. That's it? She nodded. My voice, my power, my control. He didn't understand. You seem pretty powerful already. She looked at him, eyes dim. Without the mask, I'm only a fraction. With it, I can silence armies. Jace frowned. So why didn't you take it before? Because I was scared. That surprised him. Of what? Of becoming her again. She stepped forward, but then dash boom dot the wall exploded. Dust and fire. Figures dropped from the sky, black armored soldiers with glowing red eyes. Jace ducked behind a pillar. Are these your fans? She didn't answer. She was already walking toward them. One soldier shouted, Black Queen surrender? O.R.B. destroyed. She smiled, then vanished in less than 2 seconds. 5 soldiers dropped to the ground, choking on their own screams. She reappeared behind them, holding a blade of pure shadow. Jace watched, stunned. Okay, note to self, never make her mad. But more soldiers kept coming. Hundreds. She wasn't going to make it to the mask in time. Jace cursed, then ran right toward it. She saw him, Jace. Don't, but he was already grabbing the mask. The moment his hand touched it, everything stopped. Time froze. He wasn't in the palace anymore. He was floating in a black void. And in front of him, her, but not like before. This version of her was tall, glowing, powerful. She wore the mask already. Her voice was deep, royal. You touched what was not yours, she said. I'm trying to help you, he said. You don't understand. That mask does not obey anyone. I don't need it to obey me, he said. I need it to save you. Silence. Then, the mask began to glow. And Jace was no longer alone. The trials begin. Jace was falling, but not through space, not through time. He was falling into something older. The moment his hand touched the mask, reality shattered like glass. He wasn't in the palace anymore. He wasn't anywhere. He was inside the mask. He landed hard, knees hitting black stone. All around him, darkness, but not empty. It breathed. It watched. A voice echoed in the shadows. You touched power. Not made for you. Jace stood slowly. Yeah, well, your palace was out of keys. You joked to hide fear. That's human. Darn right it is. Suddenly, torches lit up around him. Fire blazed to life, but the flames were upside down, burning upward into the stone ceiling. In front of him stood 3 doors, ancient, and glowing with symbols. A figure appeared, not the queen, but something like her, a spirit, a judge, a memory. If you wish to walk beside her, you must be tested. Jace crossed his arms. Tested how? 3 trials, mind, heart, soul. Fail 1. And you vanish. Vanish? He asked. Like disappear? Like never existed. Ah, the fun kind. The doors began to rumble. The first one opened. Trial 1. The Minjay stepped through. Now he was in a library. No walls, no ceiling. Just endless bookshelves floating in space. Thousands of them. At all the books. Had his name on the spine. He pulled one out. It was a memory. His memory, his childhood, his worst day. The moment his father left. The next book? The day he got his pilot license. The next? The day his squad died in a failed mission. Because he had made a wrong call. He dropped the book. The voice returned. To carry her burden, you must face your own. No lies, no excuses. Jace felt something crack inside. These weren't just memories. They were wounds. Each book burned a little more than the last, but he kept going. Through the pain. Through the guilt. Until the last shelf. One final book. Opened it and saw the queen. But not powerful, not glowing. She was in a cell, crying, alone. And whispering, Don't forget me. The library vanished. He had passed. Trial 2. The heart this time. He stood on a battlefield. Explosions. Screams. Fire. People were running. Soldiers, civilians, children. alien and human alike, dot in the center. Two people. One was his mother, the other. The queen, dot, both wounded. Both calling for help, but only one could be saved. A timer appeared in the sky. 10 seconds. The queen stared at him. Choose. Jace's hands shook, dot. His mother cried out, "Jace, please." The queen said nothing. She just watched. 5 seconds. 4.3.2. JECE. Screamed and ran not toward his mother, but toward the queen. He lifted her up, carried her through fire. Everything burned. He didn't look back. And then, silence. The battlefield vanished. A new voice spoke. You chose the future over the past. You chose right. Trial 3. The soul now. Jace stood in front of a mirror, but the reflection wasn't him, dot. It was the Black Queen, dot, full form. Crowned, glowing, terrifying, but her eyes were empty, dot. She spoke. This is who I become if you leave me. Jace stepped forward. You're not that anymore. She laughed. Cold and sharp. If I take back the mask, I will be her again. What if I take it? Jace asked. You'll burn. You're not made to hold what I hold. Maybe, he said, but I'd rather burn than let you become a monster again. The queen's reflection stared at him, dot, and smiled. Softly. You're ready. Jace opened his eyes. He was back in the palace, the mask still in his hands. The queen was kneeling beside him, breathing hard, injured from battle. Soldiers lay all around them. You touched it, she said weakly. Jace looked at her, dot, not afraid, dot, not confused, dot, just changed. I passed the trials, he said. Her eyes widened. No one passes all 3, not even me. I didn't pass them. For power, Jace said. I passed them for you. She reached for the mask, but it floated into the air on its own, dot. It hovered between them, spinning slowly. 2 voices echoed in their heads. 2 souls. One path, shared power. The mask split clean down the middle. Half floated to her, dot, half to him. And just like that, something new was born. Not a queen, not a servant, but a duo, one human. One legend. Bound by fire and choice. The betrayal protocol. Trust is easy until it costs something. Jace stood by the queen, now wearing half of the ancient mask. Together, they had survived death, trials, and the return of her broken kingdom. The bond between them was real, dot, or so he thought. The galaxy was shaking. News of the Black Queen's return had spread like wildfire. Whole planets declared lockdown. War fleets began to form. Empires that hadn't spoken in centuries were now sharing codes and strategies. They weren't preparing to talk. They were preparing to kill her again. Aboard Jace's ship, now reborn with alien tech, the Queen sat silently in a room filled with holograms, planet maps, fleet movements, secret transmissions, dot. She watched them all, dot, analyzing, dot, planning, dot, calculating, dot. JE entered. You've been quiet. She didn't turn. Because the galaxy is loud. He looked at the screen, showing a rebel. Fleet, they're scared of you. They should be. He frowned. I thought we were trying to avoid war. She finally turned to him, dot. Something in her eyes had changed. Still glowing, still powerful, but colder. Do you know what happens to peacekeepers who show mercy? She asked. They get respect? No, she said. They get betrayed. Later. That night, Jace walked alone through the ship. Something was bothering him. The Queen was different, since the trials. Since the mask, half of her was stronger. But the other half? Harder to reach. He walked past the cargo bay and froze. The door was slightly open. Inside, glowing blue energy flickered. He stepped in quietly. What he saw turned his blood cold. Rows of machines, alien pods. Each one contained a clone, Not human. Not alien, but her. Multiple versions of the queen, eyes closed, floating in tanks. One opened its eyes suddenly, glowing. A perfect copy. Jace stumbled back. What the hell is this? The queen's voice came from behind him. I told you never to lie to me, she said. He spun around, shocked. What is this? She walked forward slowly. Insurance. You're making copies of yourself? No, I made them years ago, before they locked me away. He stared. Why? In case I failed, she said calmly. One day, one of them would rise and finish what I started. Jace was furious. This isn't peace. This is empire building, she sighed. You passed the trials, Jace. I thought you'd understand. I do understand, he said. You don't trust anyone, not even me. She looked down for a moment, and then whispered, I didn't ask you to trust me. I asked you to stand with me. That night, Jace sat alone in the control room. The ship was quiet, but his mind was loud. He thought about the trials. The queen, crying alone in her memory. The battlefield where he chose her over family. The final mirror. Was that her future? Or was it already her present? The next day, a distress signal hit their system. Coordinates from a neutral world, VELA, are as -7. Population. Scientists, families, civilians. Message. Please help. They're coming. Jace turned to her. We have to go. The queen didn't answer. Please, he said. We can save them. She stared out the window. They're baiting us. I don't care. She finally nodded. Set a course. They arrived hours later. Too late. The sky was red. Smoke covered the land. Ships in ruins. Craters everywhere. JACE ran through the broken city. Bodies. So many. But no attackers. Just symbols burned into the ground. Ancient letters. Familiar. He called out. Queen, these are yours. She landed beside him, floating down like a ghost. Her face unreadable. They were one of the first to betray. Me, she said softly. JAC turned sharply. You knew? She said nothing. Did you let this happen? Still silence. His voice rose. Did you? She looked at him. And said nothing. That night, the stars above Velaris 7 felt colder. JAC. He sat alone, staring at the half-mask in his hand. The voice of the trials echoed in his mind. Power is not tested by what you can destroy, but by what you choose to save. Later, the queen entered the ship quietly. She found Jace in the cockpit. He didn't look at her. You hate me now, she said. No, he replied. I hate what you've become. She closed her eyes. I'm becoming what the galaxy made. Me. He finally looked at her. Or what you were always meant to be. Rise of the Untouchable. There is no silence in war. Only the pause before something explodes. In the deepest part of space, fleets moved like shadows. Over 200 warships from 5 rival empires gathered near the dead moon of Droxus Prime. No flags, no names, no mercy. They weren't allies. They weren't friends. They were afraid. And they had one goal: destroy the Black Queen. Jace stood on the deck of his ship, watching as the enemy armada appeared on the scanner. Too many to count. He whispered, they're really doing it. They're all coming. Behind him, she stood like a storm in human shape, calm, focused, wearing the full mask now. She looked untouchable. Her voice was quiet, but sharp. We can't win this, she replied. I don't need to win. I need to end it. Across the galaxy, her name had become a warning again. Children were told not to speak it. Generals planned to erase it. But Jace, he remembered who she was before the power returned. and he was scared of what she was becoming with it. The queen raised her hand. A glowing map hovered in the air. "We strike first," she said, "before they surround us." Jace stepped forward. "You want to hit all of them?" "Yes, you'll kill millions." She didn't blink. They would do the same. "This isn't justice anymore," Jace said. "This is revenge." She paused. For one small second, her fingers trembled, then she lowered her hand. They arrived at the edge of the fleet formation. Enemy ships locked onto them. Dozens of captains sent messages. "Black Queen, stand down. You will not leave alive. This is your final chance." She sent back only one message. "Then make it count, all at once." The stars exploded. Lasers, missiles, plasma storms. But none of it touched her ship. She stood on the deck, one hand out, eyes closed, and every single blast curved away, bent around the hull like reality was obeying her command. Jace watched, stunned. "How are you doing that?" She spoke without looking at him. "I'm not bending space." "What then?" "I'm bending fear." She launched one pulse. Just one. A wave of dark energy rolled through space, and half the enemy fleet shut. Down, dead, silent, crushed by a power they couldn't understand. The other half panicked. Some ran. Some charged. None survived. It was over in 9 minutes. Just like that. 5 empires were broken. Inside the ship, Jace sat with his head in his hands. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like someone standing next to a volcano that chose not to. "Destroy him." She entered the room. Quiet, barefoot, no crown. Just that her. He looked at her. "Why didn't you kill the rest?" Her voice was softer now. "Because you were watching." The queen sat beside him. "No weapons, no mask." She whispered. "I used to believe mercy was weakness, but every time I see your face, I remember I was wrong." He looked at her. "So, what now?" "I don't know," she said. He smiled faintly. "You just wiped out 5 fleets, and now you're unsure?" She smirked. "I'm powerful, not perfect." Suddenly, an alarm. The screen lit up with a signal. Unknown origin. Encrypted. Jace pressed a button. A face appeared. An old alien woman with white eyes. She spoke slowly. "Black Queen, the council is gone. Their secrets burned. But one still lives." The queen's expression hardened. "Who?" The woman said only one word. "The architect." The queen stood. Eyes glowing. Jaw tight. Jace asked, "Who is that?" She whispered, like it tasted bitter. "The one who designed my prison. The one who made sure I'd never be touched again, even by hope." She looked at Jace. And for the first time since her return, she was afraid. The ship turned toward the unknown stars, not to destroy, not to rule, but to find the final ghost of her past. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. One human changed her. The truth has teeth. And now it wanted to bite. The stars around them looked unfamiliar. This wasn't mapped space, not claimed by any empire. A blank corner of the universe, forgotten and hidden, like a scar behind a smile. This was where the architect lived, the one who designed her prison, the one who knew her real name, the one secret she never told Jace. They landed on a black planet. No sunlight, no sky, just thick mist and ruined towers buried in ash. The queen stood at the ramp in silence. Jace approached her. "You don't have to do this alone." She looked at him. No mask, no power surge, just her. "For once, vulnerable. If I go in," she said, "I may not come out the same." Jace smiled faintly. "Then I'm going in first." They walked side by side into the dark temple. Inside, everything felt heavy, like walking through memories. Symbols glowed on the walls. One's Jace. Couldn't read, but she could. And they weren't just words. They were judgments. She who almost freed them. She who spoke the forbiddens. She who was too human. Jace turned to her. What does it mean? She didn't answer, because the answer was standing ahead of them. The architect sat on a throne made of rusted stars. Old, not in age. In existence. Skin like stone. Eyes like white holes. Not glowing, consuming. You have returned, it said, voice like cracking ice. Why? The queen stepped forward. To finish it. Which part? The architect asked. The truth or the lie you became? Jace stepped beside her. She's not a lie. The architect turned toward him. You are the variable. I'm the reason she didn't burn everything, Jace said. That's why you fear me. I do not fear humans, the architect replied. I fear their hope. The room changed. Suddenly. Jace saw everything. Her life before the war. Before the crown. Before the mask. She wasn't a queen. She was a scientist, a healer, a dreamer. She didn't rise to power. She was pushed into it by a galaxy in chaos. And when she tried to unite it peacefully, the council declared her a threat. The architect built the prison, and the rest was erased. Jace stared at her. You never told me. She looked away. Would you have followed a scientist with a broken heart? I followed a woman who never gave up, he said, even when everyone else did. The architect spoke again. Your bond with him is unstable. You have a choice now. A pedestal rose from the ground. On it, 2 shards of the mask, one black, one white. The architect continued. Take the black, reclaim your throne. Rule by fear. No more lies. Or take the white, it said, and give it all up. Walk away. Forever. Powerless. The queen stood still. Jace watched her, heart racing. She looked at the black shard. It pulsed with raw energy. So much pain. So much rage. The ability to crush stars. Then she looked at the white shard. It was quiet. Peaceful. But small. Weak. Tears slipped down her cheek. I could fix everything if I just had more time. She whispered. Jace. He stepped close. No, you wanted to fix everything before they broke you. She turned to him. And now? Now, he said, you fix yourself. She took the white shard. And the palace shook. Not from power, but released. The energy left her body like a storm passing through glass. The black shard shattered. The mask was gone. And the architect smiled for the first time in centuries. Then, it is done, it said. You are no longer the queen. No, she whispered. Now I'm finally me. Back on the ship, as the two walked away from the ruins, something strange happened. The stars above them, once cold and dim, began to shine again. Light the galaxy hadn't seen in 1,000 years. Not fire, not fear. Hope. In the weeks that followed, the empires tried to rebuild. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted peace. But every time they asked about the queen, they got the same answer. She's gone. And every time someone asked about the human who stood beside her, he changed her. On a quiet moon far from war, a woman with silver. Hair grows food in silence. A man with tired eyes helps her. They don't wear crowns. They don't rule, but when they laugh, the wind itself feels lighter, because they aren't legends anymore. They're just free.